if I'm on Talon, just because they've shown the flexibility in being able to play at position 1 and position 2, and I feel like if you're going to Primal Beast this early, there are still plenty of responses to it. Anything that has spell immunity is going to be really effective against it in lane. I'm the biggest fan of that one, but maybe they're just wanting to let multiple heroes come through so that they're able to pick them up themselves if it's not picked up by T1.
I think Marcy's another hero that's going to be contested. T1, they have the option to go down that route if they want to. And there we go, picked up. I was going to say, like, if Talon were playing with the 8th pick in this game, they could consider a Morphling at the 8th because of how goddamn good 23 Savage plays on that hero. I don't think we'll get it with the Earthshaker. No, they're going to go down the puck route, but that could be a thought for later games once we get there.
Yeah, this seems like it's plan B for Talon. I know I'm assuming since it's so early into the draft, but if that Marcy got left in, I almost am certain that they would have gone for a Marcy visit. Like it just is such a strong laning combination. KP plays it well. It picks up the tempo. It forces Talon to respond a little bit more defensively. And, well, wouldn't you know it, they get the flex. They get to ban out the big hero against it. And, I mean, every time you see a Shaker, right? Do you think this was bait coming through from Talon? Or do you think it just slipped their mind that, I mean, Thompson has shown that he really likes going into that Aghanim Scepter build. And can't think of many better heroes other than maybe the Slark, which we've seen in recent times, that a Morphling would like to be.
Thompson is smirking right now. It's like, what are these fools doing? They let the Morphling through. I got my 8th pick Morphling. I can now ban some pretty hefty counters. You mentioned about the Morph Earthshaker matchup as well. So Thompson in particular is incredibly happy.
Yeah, for sure. It was a little bit odd. That's certain. So now what can they look to do? Because you kind of also revealed like what your mid laner is going to be with picking up this puck. And not that it has a bad matchup against the Morphling, but you can't really pick some of these heroes that might be able to abuse the matchup a bit more. This is Talon that are going to have the last pick of this phase as well as the final one. So mid lane isn't going to be a one matchup, let's say. But how are you going to win the other lanes? That needs to be the main priority for them. So clearly they're just wanting to, again, slow the game down. Look at these heroes being removed. It's all what we were talking about before. Fast-paced, get rid of the DP, Chen, Enigma, Undying as well. Wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of the Primal Beast, but I suppose it's not too bad because you can still pick up that position 5 that's like an Oracle, for example. That's a great laning response to the Primal Beast if it's played as either a position or a position 4.
I do think the one nice thing with Talon in regards to the mid matchup is that, you know, Thompson in the early game, he can kind of get active once Dragonlance is completed on the Morphling, but early game Puck is going to be able to make a lot of rotations, and you know the Morphling doesn't have this capability. So Talon could have a big advantage with Makoto just being free to make movements to both side lanes, and that could really help out with finding early kills.
The thing with those rotations, though, is that you need to pick up a support that has a bit more damage. Earthshaker doesn't. There's a big reason why I hate this hero. Like, it's really entertaining to watch if it gets to the late game. My concern is it's not going to get to the late game. So how are you going to be able to combat that? Really just Visage Doom Brew that are left in the pool right now. There's another fast-paced hero, right, with the Nature's Prophet being taken out. So I like Talon's bans. I'm just not necessarily a big fan of this between the
T1's turn to pick.
Primal Beast now. I mean, I guess you could glimpse him back if he goes for the charge, but have a White Mon Lion coming through. I mean, the man is an absolute Chad on this hero.
But he is a great way to be able to address the puck. I am a bit concerned that Talon can look to ramp up the pressure. Like, that was what we were asking for them in the pre-game, saying that they kind of had to match T1 early. And a Disruptor and a Puck, they want to be running heroes. And Lion, he doesn't like that at all. If people are up in his face, a squishy hero that wants to get the initiation, with the Blink Dagger as well, which is going to take a little bit to come online. So I do like the Lion answer to the Puck, but I feel like as a game answer, there might be some issues because Talon are going to get very, very aggressive early.
You think so? I mean, my vision is that this Disruptor and Shaker aren't the best at rotating. I don't think they have the greatest amount of damage. Like, sure, if you just Dream Coil into a Static Storm, it's great for a lot of these team fights, but all T1 need to do is not clump up. I feel like they need to pick a hero that's going to be able to up the tempo a little bit more, because it's the age-old adage of, well, Disruptor's good if you're playing aggressively, but if you're trying to run away from a Marcy and a Viper that are running at you, then you're going to have a much harder time.
Remaining.
I think
What melee position ones can you really pick up into a Viper, especially one that's being assisted by a Marcy as well?
there's not too many because, I mean, you'd be looking at like a Juggernaut or a Lifestealer, but they do not match up well versus the Morphling, and even the Lion, again, is nice with the instant Hex. So this is not going to be an easy pick at all for 23 Savage.
Maybe they could go down the route of like a Ghost Knight or something like that, just if they really wanted to go for some kills in the laning stage, but I don't know. I feel like you would be banking on finishing early, and that doesn't really sync up with like what an Earthshaker looks to provide to your team. I know double range isn't really a great thing, but Sniper might not be horrible this game just because they don't have amazing gap close. Like if you're going forward on the Morphling, then you need to pretty hard commit, and then it means that you might be able to get that static storm off on the Disruptor. Instead, it's going to be a Beastmaster, so a double melee lane, but it's not horrible, right? The thing that I like about this is that it's going to give you a lot of plays with the Glimpse. I was kind of thinking, can they Night Stalker into this? Because, you know, we've seen in the Eastern European region, that's a pretty popular combo. You don't need stuns if you're just constantly running at people and able to glimpse them back.
5 seconds remaining.
So Beastmaster's at least going to provide that vision, allow you to take the team fights that you want. I'm just a little bit worried about how the lanes are going to go still.
I think the nice thing, at least now, is that Talon can protect the Beastmaster. There might even be potential, though, for T1 to flex the Morphling into the safe lane, because one thing that, when they were picking up the Morphling in previous series, it was the puck was getting banned out every single time. So obviously Thompson is concerned about this matchup, and Talon are aware of this, hence why they picked it before the Morphling was shown. Is that enough to put the Morphling in the safe lane, who should have a pretty good time versus the Beastmaster? Like, you can deal with the boars. Earthshaker's not a concern at all. They have that potential. You still have the potential to put the Marcy in that lane as well. But I like the Beast pick a lot. It seems like Talon are gonna have a big advantage here in team fighting.
Just trying to see like some of these unorthodox heroes that Anna's been playing lately. Obviously, we've seen the Undying. We've seen what was the other hero that we got out of him on day one?
The Marcy.
Marcy, yeah. But he's been playing Clockwork in pubs. He's been playing Bounty Hunter in pubs. He's even been playing the Marana in pubs as well. Marana's not that bad into a Beastmaster. You know, you're able to deal with the boars nice and easily. Got pretty good attack range. You can rely on Thompson to be the one to carry the game for you. The downside is, of course, you would be playing alongside a Lion, so that doesn't feel anywhere near it.
See what the call is going to be, T1. They've got plenty of reserve time to work this one out. Again, they have a lot of flexibility as well.
10 seconds remaining.
Seems like it's going to be Anna's hero. He's surprisingly vocal for a draft. Normally he's just dead silent unless it's his hero being picked up. So you would have to assume that the play for them is putting the Morphling mid for now. So with this, it's not really a PA game, is it? I mean, it's not a bad PA game.
PA Morphling might be a bit too greedy. That's my concern.
Outside of the Beastmaster, though, as long as Beastmaster's dead, you don't push with lineup. So I feel like you can get away with it. That's why the Xerxia earlier today, they were able to pull off I think it was a Faceless Void TA draft, just because you were against 4 heroes that were pretty terrible at pushing. So you can be greedy, as long as it's not going to get punished. You need to identify what's going to punish you.
I don't know. I'm really concerned because I feel like Talon, they have this last pick that you can go for anything on Savage. It's going to be the Pudge. More than likely, Anna picking this one up.
Pretty decent, right? Like, they aren't going to have a lot of ways to be able to deal with the Flesh Heap, right? It's all pretty slow ramping up damage. Even just the Static Storm, right? If you're able to get the Flesh Heap off before that comes through, Puck, another one of those heroes that does kind of slow-ish damage until super later on. We've seen Makoto, though, carries games with this Puck. Big reason why they were able to beat out Polaris in the previous part of the upper bracket going into the Dagon build. But now what can you go into this Pudge? As a position 1, they need damage. They need something that's going to carry them in the late game. Gonna be...
I'm intrigued because we saw in the DPC that they went for some pretty crazy heroes for 23 Savage.
Your heroes.
One of them.
Got to call the Slark.
Oh, they get the Slark.
I was gonna call it.
That's my bad. My bad.
No, that's all right. I was hesitant because I was like, could they do this? Is it potential? Like, against the Viper, it feels okay. You've got the Dark Pack, right? You've got plenty of ways to be able to rack up those Essence shifts. Again, it allows you to take the team fights.
That would help out, but you get a position on Pudge who doesn't need a whole lot. It can make a lot of space for Thompson. But again, my real big concern is that there's a lot of synergy on Talon. Like Slark, Wax Speed, he's going to get it out of the inner beast. You've got Nighttime to help with glimpses. You've got the Hawk to help with glimpses. You've got the Orb to help with glimpses. Talon are just going to run at T1. They have an incredible lineup to be able to do that. They have really good team fighting as well. Whereas I feel like T1, again, I think their only way to succeed is they need to be ahead. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
I think they're going to be ahead. I think they're going to be ahead in the laning stage. It's just a question of what you do after that. The one thing that it's going to be making me lean a little bit more towards your argument there with Talon is that while Thompson's spending this time farming on the Morphling, which we know they like to do, make a ton of space for him. He's one of the best heroes at being able to go into the jungle and be able to pick up some of that farm. You don't have great heroes at being able to push. Like, Viper can do it, but it's not like you've got a Visage. It's not like you've got a Death Prophet. It's not like you've got a Nature's Prophet that are able to provide a lot of that pushing potential. They're going to be scouted out by KP. Probably see the fact that these Ancients are warded up.
To battle.
Who would even take those Ancients, though? Maybe they're just assuming that they're going to go max out the Wild Axes on KP?
I suppose so, yeah. No one else would be able to take it, so maybe just trying to slow down the Beastmaster's game, which I do think, like, Beastmaster is a huge component to Talon's lineup. If he gets that early Helm of the Overlord, that's where the push can come from, and that's where the group up can come from as well.
The battle
Your potential Wraith Pact as well, if that's a route he wants to consider. It looks like we'll have nothing crazy in regards to the bound. It will be a 2-for-2. Either side's able to get their wards out on the map as well, and we are all set, ready to rock and roll here. Game 1 for the upper bracket finals. Talon against T1, and what a mid matchup we've got. Makoto against Thompson.
It's about mid, but we seeing what's happening top. We're getting a little bit of a tri-lane actioning happening up here. We've got the Lion paired together with the Viper and the Marcy up top, looking to try and get that first blood on the board if they can. Great way to be able to start out this lane. You know, I've mentioned that Cuckoo really needs to have a solid start to this one. Going to have any chances of taking towers and putting a lot more pressure on. They're on to hide for now, but damage. Where's the follow-up?
Oh, they should have the damage just in a poison attack. Look at the kill. Zephyr's going to trade his life with running under the tower, but he's got enough movement speed, in fact, to get out of the aim of 23 Savage. So a great start for T1. The Viper can have some issues early on. Once you get that level 3, a huge power spike in the second point of the poison attack, they're going to be able to get active beforehand.
It almost feels like this Orb of Venom was exclusively just to get that first blood, the one that Marcy's holding right now, because you really don't want to be going up and contesting against 23 Savage on his Slark. And I feel like Hyde, with his positioning, is going to be good enough that he's not going to be trading right clicks. Harass from afar with that Thunderstrike and look to make them use a lot more of that regen. Rather than using it onto Zephyr, yeah, just target Cuckoo. Make him feel a little bit more pressured.
Top lane is definitely going to be a bit difficult for Talon to play this lane. Savage, of course, can always get rid of the poison attack, but feels like the spam fire is going to be very difficult for them to deal with. The Disruptor's not a crazy laner as well, so I think this is...
KP's in a little bit of trouble.
Spike on top of KP, and they should be able to get the kill. KP recognizes this, so he's going to try and do as much damage as he can, but T1 already second kill on the board.
They're giving up a little bit to be able to start this game, but it's what you have to come to expect, right? When you're playing with an Earthshaker, I think he's a woeful laner. So this is always going to be the thing that happens. Ooh, Tower actually gets these last hits away, so it's going to make the lane actually push out a little bit more towards T1's side, which is not what you want. I mentioned before that T1, they have the much better draft for the laning stage, and if they're going to be able to push into some of these early towers, they need the lanes to go well, which they have so far.
Whenever Q's in put out of position with the Beastmaster as well, which we saw prior. Whitemon can get that Earth Spike into the hook. a very potent combination that you need to be able to play with the Pudge, because how much damage he's able to dish out early on in the lane. And Ana, he's just free farming. Like you said, all the lanes going very comfortably for T1.
Makoto's always going to do well in his mid lane, though. He's a very solid player up top. Nice pounce away by Savage just to be able to get away from the aggression. But yeah, I think Makoto has probably been the biggest standout for mine from Talon so far these qualifiers. It really has been the mids really shining, right? Even though they're eliminated, Bob on Execration was doing a fantastic job for his team, and Makoto, even when Savage has had a bit of a rough time, it never seems to be him pulling the team down.
Helps me with some of the voice lines. Makoto's trying to duke up the strike. Very
You can
interesting.
take the man out of OG, but you can't take the OG out of the man.
Radiant's middle
Not
tower
at all.
is under attack.
Lane now. So we're going to be looking towards a power. They got 2 minutes until the spawn. That's where Puck really needs the advantage. And I do feel like I have this capability to be able to secure some of them. But Radiant, they don't have the worst heroes as well from being able to rotate. And we already see Zephyr try and help secure one of the water runes for Thompson. And also they'll bring Whitemon as well to take the other one away.
Yeah. It's always what you need to be focusing on whenever you're up against the Puck, right? You are much less capable than a Morphling. He's got
Bottom lane.
what, 4?
Ana is alone at the moment. Q's got the Vision from afar, another round of the axes as well as KP. He's going to get a little bit of revenge. Beautifully done as they see that Whitemon left the lane so they could get aggressive onto Ana's Pudge.
Good response coming through there. What I was saying before was you've got about a 14 damage advantage on the Morphling versus the Puck, so Puck needs those bottles to be filling his mana, just so that he's able to stay ahead on this net worth. Of course, no small camp to be able to play around with anymore either, so it makes it even more vital than it used to be. Looks by Ana, just cheating, getting a little bit of extra golden experience coming through. Wanting to go so important for him to make sure that he's securing those power runes, otherwise he just can't farm.
Lucky with the spawn though.
Yeah, and just to see if there are multiple people nearby, he can obviously see hide, but that scan would be clipping anyone else that's coming through. It's on cue, nicely done, good attempt. Oda was able to secure that somehow. Whitemon was guarding the bottom rune, but Arcane Rune being picked up. As soon as he's level 6, that might enable Talon to make a first attempt to go for a kill. You would have to assume it's on top, though. I mean, with that Vanguard being picked up on Ana, a lot more challenging to target him. So, in my eyes, Cuckoo's the one that they're going to need to focus on.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're going to be killing off Ana with only 1 point in the wild axis here for KP. So, probably something that Makoto's going to be considering. Look at T1 playing very aggressively around mid. Zephyr and Whitemon still sticking around to try and put some pressure onto Makoto.
Doesn't it feel great to see Zephyr playing a much more active style? Like, he really made a name for himself playing, you know, his Treant, his Dawnbreaker, these style of heroes that are just hanging back a little bit and then joining into a team fight. But he has taken the notes coming through from Topsted saying, I need you to be active, I need you to run at their faces constantly, because that's what's going to make space for our team. With Ana, great farmer, great laner, to be able to come out on top.
Look at the moves across the map as well. T1, cliff ward around mid. They were able to scout out Hyde and Q's rotation. And instantly, once they saw this, they started to pivot their attention to this with the toss away. But Zephyr, unfortunately, not there fast enough. That is another big kill onto the Pudge.
A little bit too deep there on Ana. Understand you want to be trying to go for those solo kills, make the space wherever you can. The important thing is, though, Cuckoo is still left solo up on this top side of the map. Like, he has had a pretty decent lane without Marcy actually babysitting him a lot of the time. So he's already up to his level 6 at 8 minutes. He's going to be farming up this double wave that's coming into him. He's in a really good spot to actually be that tower pusher that I was wanting him to be.
The Earth Spike, they might be lacking in easy. Thompson might solo kill Savage. Nicely done from
that makes
Thompson.
it worth it.
Yeah, a bit of a silver lining across the map.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Through all 3 cores towards the top. No Essence Shift permanent stacks coming out. More Savage coming through here. And I mean, this is why you got to get rid of the Morphling, right? Just the amount of flex that it provides to T1 is kind of insane. I also want a bit of a prediction from you, Aries. Are we going to see any TPs in that are immediately glimpsed back this game? I feel like someone's going to forget the disruptors in this game. It's not really a meta hero these days.
So yeah, someone will forget. I'm still sticking around bottom. Can they rotate Topson? Yep, they're gonna smoke. I do not believe he was under the observe ward. They are pinging out. They saw the invis spawn and saw that someone took it without any vision of a hero in the area. So they know that they're smoking down. I was just singing the praises of T1's wards, but that ward from Talon potentially keeping them alive. Not keeping the Earth Shaker alive, at least.
It's a valuable kill, though, right? Like, this Shaker doesn't do anything early on. You know, you're going to have a good time as the Morphling. Viper can just get disposed away from a lot of the Fissure blocks. So I think just making sure that he doesn't get into those super early items to have that true teamfight impact is going to be the biggest deal for him.
Not the Helm Dome creep. Hyde doesn't have the level 6 just yet. They need some TPs coming down from Talon. Oh, Hyde just got the ultimate. The experience is enough to lay the Static Storm down. They'll glimpse Zephyr back out of the T1 tower. Another easy pickings for the side of Talon. They'll chase down the support. A perfect timing for the Static Storm to come out.
Radiant structure.
Now, I might sound a little bit premature here, but Hyde is 3-1-3. And he's got a lot of net worth. He's got into the Arcane Boots, but is this a game where he goes Aghanim Scepter, like, really early and just commits to it? I kind of feel like it is, right? Because Morphling's going to be looking to play around that Manta style as much as he can. Morphling's going to be looking to buy a BKB to be able to withstand the eventual Static Storm will come out. So he might be able to get a lot of success out of this. Ana doesn't get sent all the way back to the base. Nearly did. Walk on away. Look at all the information this Hawk's providing as well. Seeing that Whitemond's there to be able to punish any kind of people that are just lagging behind a little bit. Another important factor is the fact that Whitemond...
Lane Topson! Oh, no!
Take that.
Oh, my lord. Topson Morphling. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Just ban it.
0. Yeah, I mean, they obviously felt like they had a way to be able to address it.
You can think that all you want. It might not be the reality of the situation, though. Mid lane, got a couple of seconds left until the Static Storm is available, but he's just looking to run in to hide. Great Earth Spike coming through.
Don't delude yourself.
So now, Talon, they need to be speaking about how they're going to be able to address the Morphling in regards to this game. You know, potentially... Oh, hold that thought, KP. They've got a really good position to take the fight. They're going to try and get the clear. They're avoiding Topson at the moment, dealing with the supporting cask, and now they can go back to the Morphling with the perfect chain control, but it's not enough. Just TP out. Topson, he'll make it away, but still, T1, they do lose both their supports in that skirmish.
Both of the supports, but both of the cores of farming, although...
Already got the glimpse maxed out, so Ana just stepping a little bit too far forward. The TP's come out, and this is going to be another death onto the Pudge, and he doesn't even bring Q into the grave with him.
Would have been a nice solo kill if he was able to do that, but again, like, what is this actually netting? All of these kills. At least this time around, you get the permanent agility onto Savage. That's fine. But all three of T1's cores are sitting at the top. You haven't taken any towers yet at 13.5 minutes. It might be going down now that this T1 tower is being hit into by the Beastmaster, but I feel like T1 still feel like they're in a pretty decent spot. Coming in, he's hanging nearby just for that glimpse if you're revealing a little bit too early on Buku.
It's a big kill if they can get the Disruptor straight away, and they will. And Zephyr's going to be able to pounce on forward as well, catching out KP on the retreat. Great defense from T1. They will lose their tower, but they're going to make sure they can catch up some of the members on Talon before they can get away.
There's a lot of valuable gold coming through from...
Smoke off from Talon. Hobson showing mid. It's probably going to have to be a fissure into a Static Storm, and that's going to be exactly the case. A beautiful way for Talon to be able to set up, and they should have the damage to bring him down. Great read from Talon on how they need to execute that pickoff.
Oh, your man, Hyde gets the mega kill streak. He's going into the 4-star, but give me the Aghanim Scepter, bro. It's going to enable a lot more of those sorts of plays.
It's a hard call, because it is a very good 4-staff game.
Yeah, but
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
position 5.
I get it. Alright, well, Thompson, first death for him of the game. Kind of mentioned the question before, but now we got a little bit more of a break. We can go back to it. What do Talon need to do to address this incredibly farm morphling? Is it items we need to see out of them? Is it maybe a different sort of play style for them to be able to deal with Thompson?
No real natural spirit vessel builders, which is probably one of the main ways that you could have used to address it. Got the Mantis, the Yasha finished up, so he could go into Mantis style if he wanted to, but Sanj coming through next, so no, it doesn't feel like they've got great ways to be able to do it. It seems like it's going to need to be around all these big ultimates coming back to back. At least Q's recovered his net worth somewhat. He's only 700 gold away from that Blink Dagger. 16 minutes in, so it's still a little bit slow, but you're going to have that surprise factor for the Morphling if you catch him with the superior vision that you should have. You know, you're playing with a Beastmaster and a Slark, not only giving yourself vision, but having a really hero to be able to make sure that the enemy doesn't have it on you.
Dire's top tower is under
It
attack.
does seem like Talon having some difficulty. I see Honor under the ward. If Hero's not defending
Dire's
top, that'll
tower
maybe
has
be
It's a good indication that something's
middle
going
tower
on.
is under attack.
Yeah, I was going to say, Talon, it's kind of awkward because the Beastmaster is wanting to finish this Helm of the Overlord, but you also want the Earthshaker who's trying to finish this Blink Dagger. So it's a bit difficult for them to be able to divvy up some of the farm across the map. And, well, one person we haven't really spoken about is Cuckoo. This guy is incredibly farmed. Only 2 kills participated with for the Viper, but second in the net worth, and he's already got the Hurricane Pike, but this could be his first death. Proto's going to start forcing reaction.
Be able to get away from some of these, fissures and weird sort of situations. They've enabled him to be really greedy this game, right? Most of the time, Cuckoo just goes for these like crazy run-at-you style heroes like the Death Prophet, and I mean, it's not run-at-you, but to a lesser extent, very aggressive with the Nature's Prophet. But the Viper, much more...
They're setting up on Savage. They get the stun and the burst from Thompson. Beautifully done. The ward just scouting him out so they could instantly move over there to bring it down. 23 Savage, but look at the reactions out of Talon. They want to try and hit back. They see Thompson farming up the wave. Again, it's going to need to be a fissure into the Static Storm. Dakota's going to try and give them the vision, but with the smoke popping, they've got the ward, and with the instant TPs are coming out, this is not going to be good for Talon. The Static Storm only controls one, so Thompson's got a free fight, and Talon, they need to get out. A coil will cover the retreat, the glimpse as well. Looks like Talon might escape. They're going to Delta split. Hyde and Q, a little bit slow, but they will make it back to the tower.
Going to be able to escape, but you just use your Static Storm, you use your Dream Coil. So now how are you actually going to take these fights with your superior team fight?
Do we feel like T1 are going to be strong enough to be able to contest this timing that's about to come out shortly for Talon? You got the Helm of the Overlord, and you are very close to the Blink Dagger on Q as well.
I think they can if you've got the Aghanim Scepter on Pudge. Right? You should have a decent time with dealing with it. Silence on mid, like Thompson.
It was your own
Top lane where they're moving. Q just walks in, fissure into Echo Slam, a couple of rotations, and that gives him enough gold for the Blink Dagger, but it is the Echo Slam on cooldown for Talon.
And the Roar as well. So again, like it's all well and good to get these kills. You might be like, all right, we're ahead on the kill score, but what are you going to be able to do with this these kills that you've accumulated? You're behind on net worth, you're behind on towers. You don't have cooldowns to be able to play around either. So it's a little bit awkward where they might miss this timing that they've got to play around. Like, what good is a Blink Dagger if you don't have the Echo Slam to play around with it for the next 2 minutes?
For Radiant, they're going to be playing with a Scepter on Honor, and a Cuckoo will be a little bit away from the BKB. I've been very impressed with the vision game from either side. This was overboard from Talon at the moment towards a triangle, scouting out Thompson's farming rotations. Radiant with the ward by the small camp down bottom was able to scout up the Slark, so there's both sides with some more peculiar wards, but they're getting them a lot of information.
Savage is holding on to the 1 sentry for now. Lane, there's a lot of heroes clumping up there. I mean, even that observer ward up top that scouted out Savage for that kill, the Zephyr as well as Thompson being able to go in onto him, it's still there. So a little bit surprising that it wasn't dewarded. Here we go. This is the smoke. Trying to take advantage of this timing. Primal Roar's back up for KP.
They're going to see Honor.
Back to this horn.
Can they blow him up though? Ana's pretty goddamn tanky and close to the 2-2 tower, and he's actually going to run at them. Ana lands the look, and now Thompson's going to TP in, but the static storm Thompson. He doesn't get the attribute shift off, but Talon, they're not going to commit into the middle. The retreat's been called, a 1-for-1. They still actually get rid of Ana towards the back line. As high, that was enough damage to get the kill, so that will favor Talon in the end.
Yeah, I think they did deal with the Helm of the Overlord creep eventually coming through there, but dodge away there on Makoto once again. But yeah, he was silenced for so long with the static storm with the puck, so he wasn't able to turn off the rot and ended up actually dealing so much extra damage over to himself. Instead of the BKB, sorry, instead of the Blink Dagger, he's got that BKB coming through next. For Ana on the pudge, he really wants to be able to respond to the leash, to the recoil, to the silences that are just coming through. All you really need to worry about then at that stage is the primal roar.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Scouting out a little bit.
They just completed the BKB as well
is under attack.
from 23 Savage, so it's a big item now to enable him just to run into the middle. He will still be very vulnerable into the instant hex from the Lion, but without a blink from Whitemon, that could be difficult. Ana's Dismember as well is something that he has to fear. Go up high, great position to pump the smoke. They're going to wait for him to the high ground. Instead, they'll turn to high. Brings down to the shot dog, but they might be able to pop the Savage. Savage didn't pop the BKB, nor the Shadow Dance as well. And Cuckoo, he'll tip in for it. That frees up the pit now as Tier 1. They're going to be able to go back and claim it. But Makoto, unless he has something else to say, a coil.
Shaker, where's Shaker?
They've got the Earth Shaker, but he's nowhere to be seen. They're not going to jump on forward. So even though they get the one kill and a decent ultimate, there was no follow-up.
It would have been amazing if he was just a little bit closer there. He has the Blink Dagger available. He was playing around the great vision that they
Good for a
had.
steal.
Could indeed. Seconds away from that Hawk. They're really trying to zone KP in ways.
It's the timing perfect. Thompson gets the Aegis. Q, his blink's getting cancelled as well, so he can't jump in with the Echo Slam. He'll finally get it off, but there is no follow-up. As T1, they get the Aegis. They get the kill onto the Earthshaker as well. A great skirmish for them.
Kind of a worthless Echo Slam used as well, right? Like, not sure what the point of all that was. Maybe just some miscommunications coming through there where he thought people would be looking to connect through onto the Roche pit, but Aegis was already claimed. There's no real point to do that, and now you've respawned, you've still got that Blink Dagger, but again, it's going to be a good 100 seconds until you can have any impact with it. Go. Timing.
They're onto the Makoto. Whitemon with the instant stun. That's the Blink reveal. Hobson is in incredibly deep. Savage has got a bounce. They've got the roar as well to hold him down. He doesn't get the attribute shift off. A couple of cores getting a little bit too antsy here in this upper bracket finals.
It's Thompson, right? He plays on the edge. He realized that he had the Aegis and was going for that little bit of extra farm. That's why they were able to build up this net worth lead that they've got right now, going between 4 and 5k. But, you know, sometimes you can just go a little bit too deep. Static Storm and Primal Roar had to be used for it. But I want to say it was worth it, but you're still getting a kill onto Makoto. He does feel like the one that's keeping them in this game right now.
Do you remember, I think it was yesterday or maybe even the day before, we were speaking about the Beastmaster Ag Shard and maybe where it fits into the build. Well, it looks like this game, KP, he's gone for its second item. What do you feel like the reasoning is here for KP?
Question, to be honest. Maybe just the reduced cooldown, really wanting to play around the extra vision that you've got, because there's still 2 Tier 1 towers up. Make sure that they've got as much vision as possible so that they can look to claim a few of these areas and make this aggressive draft that they've got come online, because up to this point, it hasn't really. Permanent Agi stacks and 1 tower with a Beastmaster and a Helm of the Overlord at 25 minutes. Not what you want for Talon.
Oh no. He could be able to blink and get the hook onto KP. He's actually going to jump on the high ground as well. Ana's going to be cautious because Savage, no hesitation with the use of the BKB. He's going to go and stack up the essence, but he's on the wrong side of the fissure. Savage just can't continue to right-click. As T1, they jump with Ana, making sure that no man will go in alone.
Want to try and deal with this mid lane a little bit. Pushing out a little bit. Ana got to cut the wave as well. I think Zeph has been the MVP this game so far. Just all of his rotations, enabling them to get kills onto the Slark, finding a way to get multi-man stuns, even just there in the team fight. With his first item, BKB, just going right on in. Not world about the Static Storm providing.
Savage might be in trouble mid. Ana's gonna jump. Oh, the bounce away. Now this is a bit deep here, but they know the BKB is on cooldown for the Slark, so it will be difficult for him to fight. And Zephyr, he's going to look to jump in. Echo slams out. Q's going to find the ultimate before they secure the kill. The damage, look how hesitant Talon are. Savage will be able to bounce back forward, and they've been able to isolate Ana. So another kill given over to Talon.
Bit too deep that time around, but that was the play. That at least now they're using their ultimates around these big objectives, you know? Previously around the Roche pit, 4-man coil by Makoto wasn't followed up by any Echo slams, just being thrown out.
Jump, a quick burst. Thompson's nearby to blow him up, but it's just Thompson now, alone on an island. Let's see if they're going to be able to have the control. Thompson actually might look to turn around and man fight because he has the scepter turn into the start. But Thompson, he's leashed together. Again, what a crazy game we got. 19 kills even between the two teams, but it just feels like both sides are going a bit too far forward on a couple of occasions.
I can understand T1 wanting to do it now that they've hit a few of their extra timings, but they're doing it solid. You know, they're not doing it as a full unit. Maybe just because you are up against these three great AoE team fight ultimates in the Echo Slam, the Static Storm, and the Dream Coil, but they're not much of an issue.
Oh, great fissure timing. Cancelled the dismember, but still with the rot damage, Savage. What's the pop of BKB? Finally get the T1 tower mid lane.
Let's open up a lot more plays. It's not really like T1 have been playing around the triangle all that much, but eventually it's going to feel like one of the safer places for Ana to be able to pick up this extra farm that he needs. But he's still lacking that BKB. Hasn't really had too much item progression at all coming out of Ana in the past.
Radiant's bottom
Like this from Talon, though. They're pushing, getting some tier 2 towers, taking advantage of KP, playing one of these more aggressive heroes.
Look at the net worth lead. It's in Talon's favor now. The first time this game, the highest it got to, I think, was just a little over 5,000 for T1. Talon, they've been able to weather the storm, and they've been able to find a lot of defensive items as well. Lincoln's on Savage, Makoto has this Aeon Disc as well. Hyde's very close to a Scepter. These are some big item timings coming out for Talon.
Tower is under attack.
Oh, is he actually? Let's go.
Yes,
He actually went for
it.
Nice.
Our Philosopher's Stone is a hell of a neutral item for a Disruptor.
It's going to be really effective. Like, I like how both teams are itemizing. Obviously, the position 5 going for the Scepter. Yeah, I love it, man, up my own heart. But you're going to hit these 4 BKB timings on T1 at pretty similar times. You've already got one on the Viper as well as the Marcy, but Ana on his Pudge, he's going to get one sooner rather than later, basically just the recipe component away. Thompson as well, he's at a similar level of farm. So if they could just stall things out, not lose too much more map control, then 4 BKBs, as long as you're able to dodge out getting caught pre-game BKB by the Static Storm, in a really good spot.
Yeah, so you feel like that's the recipe for success here for T1? Because my concern is that Talon just have a ridiculous amount of team fight. So you feel like with the BKBs from T1, as long as they can get it off before the Static Storm and get a couple kills throughout that duration, they should be able to succeed?
Well, the ridiculous team fight is on the back of the Shaker and the Puck, right? And as long as you're BKBing, those aren't actually issues.
Maybe you can even blow them up to start the fight. You have this capability with Whitemon jumping in, or even Pudge as well. Because again, we've spoken a lot about his BKB, but now he can jump in, dismember, BKB, and that's a guaranteed 3-second control where Thompson can blow them up, or maybe even Whitemon can jump in with 2 points of Finger of Death.
They want to try and find Hyde on the Disruptor. That's what they want to do. And he's now switched out the Philosopher's Stone as well into the Psychic Headband, just making sure he can get off the best.
Look at Thompson to the low ground. A double fissure's going to connect. Makoto's in as well. Before Stop not going to be able to reposition Ana out to the left side, and Savage will secure the kill. He gets a bunch of essence, and he's looking for more. But the bounce a little bit too slow as Rymon's able to retreat, but Talon, they're on the hunt. Oh, what the hex? Rymon, that was perfect, but the consistent use of the air on this Mikoto. He's okay, but the rest of Talon, they had to over-position. KP, he pushed himself too far forward, but he's got a BKB still on the arsenal. They're going to turn to try and deal with Zephyr, and look at Mikoto holding back Thompson as well. The consistent use of the silence is making it very difficult for the Morphling to get into the middle of the fight, and now they've got the glimpse back up to KP. They know that BKB was already utilized. They need to kite Cuckoo at the moment, though. And we'll do just that.
He doesn't have BKB, he doesn't have people to be able to save him. Another good team fight coming up from Talon, and every single one of those just allows Savage on that Slark to be scaling that little bit more, closing in on the Aghanim Scepter for himself, and have the extra Agi stolen per Essence Shift stack as well. Great tool of bursting down and making this Pudge the anti-synergy for T1. Suddenly don't want to be quite so tanky. BKB's yet to be picked up on Thompson as well as Ana. Thompson, the one being prioritized right now because it feels like at least he can withstand a little bit more of that damage coming through.
Can they do this? Apparently they can.
Well, I mean, where's your vision, you know, to make you feel comfortable in going into this? Actually, never mind, Zephyr's got vision of a pretty obvious cliff as well. Let's see exactly what's happening right now, but fast enough.
Looks like it's going to fall before they get there. Thompson just completed the BKB, and look at the position from Q. They're all under vision. Q, the instant hex over the right line. And now Thompson, he's been able to jump straight in the middle. Let's see what the Morph Shake is going to be able to do. They blow up 2 on Talon before they can get the ultimate off. And now Thompson, he goes out to the right side, but can't connect onto Mikoto. It glimpses into the Static Storm. Thompson will be fine. It's just going to cover the retreat, though, as Talon. They get the Aegis. I believe they got the Shard as well.
Yes, I think so. No one was really getting in there at the time, I believe. He's holding on to it at the
Radiant's middle
moment.
tower
It's just
is under
safe.
attack.
But yeah, at least now you've got those BKBs on Thompson as well as Ana. Ana didn't have to pop his in that team fight, but losing an Aegis, obviously not ideal, right? You want Thompson to be enabled to go in super deep. 20, he's got the waveform attacks targets. The Lincoln Sphere next, but certainly after that, you're going to want to see a Satanic come through from him. But it feels like he feels enabled now. You know, he can look to go in. Any suitable targets for him to morph into. A Shaker, or the Morph Shaker aspect, but even the underappreciated aspect is the status resist. 40% that you're able to get going into a strength hero.
That's a very good point. Holy shit. He's got Sanjin Yasha and also the Titan Sliver.
Titan Sliver.
So he's already got a crapload of status resistance. Now you add on top of that if he replicates into the Earthshaker. This man is not going to be easy to kill, and you see Thompson's even going for the Linkins as well, so another defensive item. Oh, nice 4-star. I don't think it's going to matter though, Cuckoo. Gets up with the BKB, and Ana gonna try and jump into the middle. They're doing a really good job to kite the punch at the moment. Gets a Dismember out onto the Beastmaster. And Thompson now is into the fight. Using the Static Storm. They're gonna try and turn this with the Morphling. He gets the attribute shift off, and I don't think they're gonna have the damage to kill off the Morph. Thompson survives, but the rest of Talon, they need to get out. Now they committed a lot of ultimates as Mikoto is in trouble.
Whitemon!
Hex down, boner, thanks to Whitemon. Beautifully done on the line. You brought it up in the draft. Whitemon has got a formidable line, level 30, Grand Master, and we're seeing how much work he can do in this game.
What I'm liking from Thompson is that he's adapting to this. You know, Talon have been really good at reacting to a lot of these super deep dives that he's going for, so he's not going the ultra greedy route in going in the Agi form, trying to burst someone down. Is everyone okay? Seems like it, having to pop the BKB though on Zephyr. But when he's waveforming in, he's making sure that he's doing it as he starts morphing into strength, just to make sure that if there is that instant silence, that instant roar coming through, that he's actually got the survivability to be able to withstand it. Little plays like that that set him apart.
Oh, that's a very aggressive link. Ana's got the rest of the team starting to connect. This is giving Savage a lot of time to be able to steal the Essence. And they get the easy kill onto Ana, but can they deal with the Slark now? Static Storm's not going to be able to protect them for the moment of T1 do an incredible job to be able to deal with the split. Down to the south go Thompson. That's where the eyes need to be if they can control the Morphling, but they won't be able to in this team fight. As Thompson playing with the Slark, Aghanim's looking and pouncing into the river. Will catch catch up to the Disruptor, and he might be able to catch up to 23 Savage now, but back throughout the middle, Makoto in the jungle, assassinates Whitemon. Q was needed as well for the kill with the fissure. Blink up in a couple of seconds, he gets out to the left side. Where's Savage though? He's looking to reinitiate as Savage bounces out for the north. BKB's going to protect Thompson, but they want to get out. Thompson's out, they make the executive call to look to retreat. Do they have any stuns for Cuckoo? They do not. T1, they will survive on two of their cores, but they also lose out in the war.
Dead even, kill score, net worth. This is the entertaining game that we were wanting to see out of these upper bracket finals, and I mean, it just goes to show Whitemon, he's still playing very well. He went super deep there in onto Savage just to try and get him with the tail end there. Blinks in, goes to the mana drain, about to hit the Earth Spike, but Savage just turns around with the BKB. Oftentimes you would think that's very wasted, but you get a kill on Whitemon on the retreat, plus also the kill onto, I believe it was Cuckoo, as he tried to run away at the very end there.
Top tower has fallen.
Power's dropping down as well. Very clear that Savage needs that basher coming through. There's been a few times too many that they've just been able to waveform TP away or rebound TP away under the cover of the BKB. Not anymore. Got the enchanted quiver on the puck. Good look to Revenant's brooch as well.
Under attack.
I'm a big fan.
Fan of the brooch. Brooch the brooch. Smoke off from Talon. Wandering down towards T1's bottom jungle. No one is home though. Great brief from T1.
Survive feels like the big thing that he needs to be looking to prioritize right now. Like, he didn't go for the Viper Strike DPS. He's gone for the poison attack slow. Now he's finished up the AC as well. So it's really just more about making sure Ana doesn't get blown up to provide a little bit more sustain and even the damage component through to Thompson. So I'm expecting to see him perhaps play a little bit more defensively. Hurricane Pike, BKB, AC. Items that allow you to be that extra level of tank.
Savage, you gonna walk up this high ground? He's even gonna pounce on forward. Savage, feeling ready to take the team fight. Even though T1, they just got multiple items completed. They are ready to rock and roll. Only a 4,000 deficit. Nothing at all at this stage of the game.
T1 really want to make sure that they can retain any kind of vision control that they have on the map, and that is the one space outside of their base that like they've got the freedom to be able to play like that. Was that a fresh Lincoln Sphere picked up by Thompson as well? Yep. So again, he's pretty tanky in his own right, and actually up this hill a little bit here to scout out Cuckoo's positioning with the phase shift Aghanim shard on the puck. And they just look to rally around that vision. KP might be a little bit too far forward here. They see the boars and he's going to blink away to safety.
Yeah, they smoked on the Hawk, I'm 99% certain. So Talon, they're going to back up to their own high ground. They do not have Makoto here at the moment. Whitemon, he's just going to blind blink up with the instant bash, and Savage is not going to mess around. They pop the BKB, but the double full of Makoto. He'll find the coil onto 3. Where's the extra stun lock? It's going to come through for the roar. They're targeting down Zephyr at the moment. They can pounce away, but Talon, they don't want to stick around. Look at the retreat. They see the buyback instantly out of Whitemon. Ryan, he's in. They'll get the Hex. Makoto's going to be fine with the Aeon Disc. KP will try and TPR, but Ana's there with the dismember. They'll stop that in its tracks as KP will be killed off. 70 seconds without the Beastmaster.
At these level of games, you've got to go for that ballsy play on Whitemon, right? Like, he goes in super deep, tries to get the instant Hex when they know that the smoke's being popped, but they just had the vision advantage. He blinked just behind a tree, I believe, making it a little bit more difficult for himself. And well, with the Roche respawn, it's going to be about half of the maximum duration, 1.5 minutes when it came up. Really, right now, the main objective for T1 is just getting control around this Roshan area. Downside is they actually haven't been able to take one of these two tier 2 towers. That was one of the other weak points that we were really seeing for T1's draft, is that now it's not quite so much because Thompson, he's farmed enough that he's going to be able to just help push this mid lane in very comfortably. Didn't have any of this outpost control available to them. Now they do, and now they can look to just stick around here, look to pick someone off, although Thompson's actually going all the way back to base. If they scout this out, they might just say, immediately, let's take back our jungle. You know, Roshan's about to come back up, and if Thompson's not here, then have a pretty free fight.
We know where the tones went for Talon, because both Savage and Makoto have some very, very important level 25s.
especially Makoto. Makoto needs that 25. Able to get the Dream Coil piercing the spell immunity, then suddenly those 4 BKBs become quite as much of an issue. They're so low duration now as well that with the call duration being 6 seconds, you're almost guaranteed to be able to get the Static Storm off afterwards.
I'd like to see Savage get this top wave. Maybe he won't because they're smoked. Right, this should give him 25. This 25 is incredibly important against this Pudge and the Morphling as well. We're going to see Slark look to go in, steal a little bit of essence, and look to duck out. Pops it.
Oh no.
I'm just going to try and follow up. Nice retreat from Talon. They go look to back up to the northwest side. They don't have too much vision to play with. Radiant got a great ward by the outpost, but Talon, they've recognized this.
Can't just walk up super freely like this. In a position to get picked off very quickly. And prioritize his survival.
Anna's taking the outpost. So Savage got the jump in.
Forward.
Great force stuff. And they get the hook. Choosing trouble now. I don't know what they're going to be able to do to be able to protect the Earthshaker. They'll try and chuck up the Depth Shroud, but Q's gone. He doesn't have a buyback. This is a vital team fight. Without the Earthshaker, they might be in trouble as Savage. Early use of the Shadow Dance. He's going to look to retreat. They get the power, but they're going to block out the escape, and now they should be able to secure a kill. The Savage goes down. They're trying to catch up to Makoto. Tops him with the lead. Just shy of getting the connection. As Makoto should escape, but they're ready to force some buybacks now on T1.
And they don't know that they've only got one available on the Slark as well, so very happy to see that it's not coming out from these supports. Very confident to going forward and look back actually. A little bit of memes coming through there saying, I don't think we need to be diving that deep, but the plus side for T1 is that Roshan is respawning as well. Just have a look at this. I mean, the hook like that just sets up the team fight so effectively. We're able to just pop the BKB. Again, Puck wasn't quite yet level 25 before that, so maybe you put the Dream Coil out there onto the Pudge and enable your Shaker to be able to get back and then hook out those supports one by one. Makes the team fight so much easier for T1 after that stage.
Like Talon are in a position where they just have to give up this Roshan. Wait for them to contest that Slark and disrupt it down as well. So this is his third Roche given over to T1. Ages on to Thompson.
Refresher? Hello?
No one wants.
Anyone?
Yeah, they want to make it a fair game.
I don't know, it seems like a pretty fair game so far. They're pretty even.
Dire
I thought Thompson was going for it.
So did I. I mean, if there's anything that... Having all of these active items as well as morphing into a Slark and having to press all of these buttons plus having a refresher is like a nightmare for me. Like I have boomer hands and boomer brain lately. Yeah. Like I'm good at the macro play. I'm good at the overall strategy, but if you ask me to press like more than 3 buttons every 5 seconds, nah, it's not going to happen.
We have some important 25s. Thompson with his, the waveform charges, and Puck has completed his as well. They might just look to try and trade here.
Radiant's
Talon shoving out bottom.
is under attack.
So the glyph though on T1, they have the ability to be able to push perhaps a little bit quicker. Going to be the one coming back though. White one scout out the Roche pit.
You have to leave this top jungle very fast now. Talon look to reclaim this. No stragglers are there at the moment, so they will be okay. Saw Thompson get picked off previously. That was first Roche. That was ages ago. Not going to happen this time. See kind of the positioning. They see...
You need the Beastmaster there. You need the Slark there as well to be able to do that. Thompson actually gets his courier killed with the TP scrolls on it, so he doesn't actually have a way to be able to get back if there is any other pushing happening around the map. But
Makoto, he might be able to solo kill the Lion, but the Ward of the Hierarchy, he sees an easy kill off. A kill off Whitemon, and he'll get out as well. Oh, Makoto. Oh, this is why you give the man a puck and another courier. Oh, Makoto.
He's legit just carrying the man. He's doing such a great job.
Savage, look at the pounce connection. Crashes out with a chain control from Q. They're going to be relying on the hook, but it clips onto Savage instead of the Viper. And there's no way they can protect Mr. Cuckoo. Talon, what a beautiful play for them. Down the third Roche advantage. They're just pulling them everywhere across the map, forcing T1 to make mistakes when you wouldn't expect it.
And you're happy enough to
Radiant's
commit
middle
that deep
tower is
because you
under
had the
attack.
vision on this cliff to the south side of the Radiant outpost, and they knew Thompson didn't have a TP. So they were like, let's commit on to it. We're not going to lose anything.
Savage just wants to steal some essence. Nice hook. Get them out.
Kodo, he's up to level 26, so he's got the Dream Core piercing the magic community. They've got the overwhelming blink, so a great way to be able to cancel out some of these blink daggers that you've got on T1 too. Quickest fingers aren't going to be able to respond to that.
Q, go in the pit. For some reason, for no reason, just go, just walk in.
Just have a look.
I like that pick up of the Aeon Disc and the Shadow Blade as well. A lot just to help with his positioning, because he is incredibly important to Talon's team fight. A lot of their chain control. A very, very good vision. Something
Imagine
that
having
Talon...
2 static storms. Imagine having 2 Aeon discs. You know, if you're just able to get a free refresher shot.
It's a pretty big item. Zephyr just completed an Abyssal Blade.
They got to just try and find a way to pop the Aeon disc on Puck first. There is that damage that's going to actually poke. It feels like it needs to be a
Thompson
lucky
gonna charge
hook coming through from
Radiant's
Ana.
middle tower
There's
is
a pop just yet. A lot of map control up into the high ground. Instantly going to try and bring them down, but they've been able to isolate them all here at the moment. They'll get rid of Zephyr. Meanwhile, Savage going to try and turn to deal with Cuckoo. Again, the Slark is having a free fight. He gets the dash. Cuckoo tried to TP out, but he won't be able to do so. As they're going to be cautious about the Slark now. He's stolen way too much essence for T1 to be able to address him. And Savage recognizes this. He's going to pounce into the middle. Deals with Ana, but tops him.
Yeah,
Dire's
do an okay
structures
job
are
of
fortified.
keep pushing out these waves, but not good enough. Just used aggressively as a little bit deep on your own, my man. I know you're a good player, but whoop, Thompson.
Look at the BKB. They're going to be able to pounce
Lucky
out.
with the bashes.
They've got the coil leash as well.
Radiant's top tower
Thompson,
is
he'll break it and he'll be alright.
Top lane's pushing in, bot lane's pushing in. Someone's got to do something. With all that vision from the illusory orb, or maybe they could have gotten the glimpse, but still on cooldown for a couple of seconds. Now KP's in as well. He wants the refresher for himself, just to be able to get that double roar off. Means that the next fight is actually winnable, but
Dire are scanning.
have that consistent lockdown to be able to kill Makoto if he's got that to be able to play around.
I think for T1 in a lot of these fights, the supports you got to kill them. The shot through and Earthshaker are giving them way too much lockdown. It's going to be a little bit different now, of course, with the refresher on the Beastmaster, but this is just props to Q and along with Hyde as well with their itemization. Like Hyde, he went 8th Lens Blink to help with his positioning. Q, again, Blink Shadow Blade. Force Staff as well, Aeon Disc, another defensive item. Like, they are just recognizing these heroes have to play so far in the backline to make sure that T1 don't get this numbers advantage, because that's in the end of the game for them. You know, Thompson to get the Earthshaker replicate more than likely, blow up the support, and then go from there as Ana's playing with fire.
Just gets the blink away. I mean, to me, it's Hyde specifically. Like, Q obviously is influential with the Shaker. He's level 20 now, so he's got even greater Fisher range, but
They say Thompson
Hyde is the one.
Thompson bounces out the bash ball. He doesn't get the attribute shift, but the hook from Ana. It'll break the coil. First roar. They're set up for the second roar as well. Do they have to damage?
Having another usage of all those roars would be absolutely phenomenal for KP if he's able to get that one. It does cause them to commit a lot, and Rune, have to imagine that that's going to lead to whoever sees it first want to check that Roche pit. It's going into Radiance on Ana, just trying to provide a little bit of that dodge coming through as well. Hey! They've just scouted it with the Hawk as well. There you go, gives it to Thompson. My worst nightmare is fulfilled. All these buttons that I would have to press if I was playing as Morphling, but Thompson's a different beast. He would have no trouble at all.
An Aeon Disc will buy him some time. He's able to get out to the left. Meanwhile, it's out the river. Ana's
on his own.
Just brought back. Ana, not like this. Jeez, it will not matter. He's got another round of the BKB. Thompson's here as well, but the Echo Q into the river, but they might still be able to get Savage. Slark's gone. T1, can they do it? At 3 against 5. Thompson against the world. Makoto should be able to kill off the line, but can they catch up to the Morphling? Gonna look to TP out of the triangle. They don't have any vision of the Morph at the moment. The Thompson will escape, but Talon into the Roche they go.
Yeah, it's the safe play for sure, especially with Savage buying back. Level 28. Scale even further, but Makoto, man, he is doing so much this game. He went into the reference approach as well, so there's no even defensive items that they could look to go down in terms of the Ghost Scepter, just to try and prevent Slug from getting it onto them. No Nullifier picked up just yet. It's just doing so much damage against the Morphling. If he's in the full Agi form, if he hasn't popped the BKB,
Middle tower.
15 seconds. They're probably going to need to somehow pop the A on disc and then look to play the team fight afterwards. Or you can just wait for the barracks and have Arna spawning up shortly. Should only be... I don't even think they'll get the full set.
you'll be happy enough with them earlier. We're at the stage of the game where...
Cuckoo's into battle. Nice running route into the fissure. Savage going to jump under the T4 towers. They're going to try and turn to deal with KP instead. The Ant is protecting up the Beastmaster for the moment. They're going to toss him back inside the base. KP protected with the cheese, but he's falling lower and lower. They can't even kill off the Beastmaster though until Arna jumps into the middle. They've got the damage finally to secure the kill, but Savage is out to the right side. A 1-for-1, but can they go back in on Talon? You've got the Age's advantage still, but Thompson is isolated inside the lane. Static Storm's going to get laid down. Arna's going to jump into the middle as well. They don't have the damage to deal with Thompson, but the Essence shift, it's starting to sack up, and Savage is doing too much damage. Thompson gets away from out to the left side, but Savage, he'll pursue him down. A bounce is there, but he's got to be cautious though. He's got to be cautious here on Savage. He's got the A on disc. They might be able to kill up the first life, but can they kill him a second time? And it doesn't look like that's the case. As Makoto, he's had a completely free fight. This puck has done so much for Talon in game one.
Beyond godlike, the old greedy